we do, of course, have baseball making its home debut on Wednesday here on WUSB and at Joe Nathan Field. So probably should need to get a word in with them as well. So taking a look at their schedule and what they were able to do, they, of course...
Not much.
Yeah, not much. They dropped 3 in a row to South Florida, and only one of them was a tight one. The first game, a 3-2 loss, and then 9-3, and then 17-2. And South Florida, of course, is a power conference school, but still, they're hoping for a little bit better performance. We'll start with game 1, and just taking a look at the numbers. And hold on, I just want to get the.
I was going to say, it was a close
summary.
game because I think big thing was Stony Brook got on the board early. Shane Paradine roped the single into center. That was the top first. So Lutner scores, and he's been great, I think, so far in this young season. 4 runs scored, 5 total hits, including a triple. For Lutner, 9 total hits, including a home run, and slugging a .545. He's been this team's best hitter by far in terms of the past couple series, batting 409 to be exact.
Well, they carried a 2-0 lead into the bottom of the 6th inning, and South Florida didn't tie it until the bottom of the 8th. Yeah. So Nick DeGennaro, I believe, started the game.
And he had a great outing. Shame he couldn't get the win. He had 4 2/3 of innings pitched, had 5 strikeouts, only gave up a couple hits and 62 pitches.
Yeah, so a solid performance from him. Of course, the bullpen not able to hang on. Now going to the next game, again at South Florida, they jumped out to an early lead, and the Seawolves not able to recover. Fox and Luther again able to combine for 4 hits at the top of the Stony Brook batting order, so they're moving along very nicely and developing, but they fell behind very early.
Yeah, and obviously, no coming back from that hole. As you said, obviously, you're going up against a much better team against USF. Obviously, something we expected them to, really not play at that level. It was a bit disappointing after how close Friday was. They couldn't match it. And yeah, falling behind early, I think, really hurt them. Because at that point, you're essentially chasing for extra base hits almost every time you're up at bat. And if you're a Lutner, you're able to get it, obviously. He went 2 for 3 on that day. Fox played well as well. Outside of them, really not much going on. Especially that Sunday game. They lost 17-2. And Colton Book had a phenomenal outing in his first collegiate game. Did not follow that up in his second one. 6 runs, 8 hits, 4 walks, and 80 pitches.
So,
it was a shame that they lost the Friday game because that was the game that they could have been able to steal.
Yep.
Right. If they can get in there, they can still win. And with one win, you feel so much. It's so much different feel about that series. Then you go down to Florida, you could steal a win from South Florida, and you feel so good about themselves. And how they lost the game as well too, walking in the 2 runs to lose the game. I think it's like you were saying, just in such a difficult way to lose the game, and then to finish up in that third game where they really just got rocked, and the pitchers just got rocked early and often.
Yeah.
So. That was a tough weekend for the baseball team.
So
yeah, it's a concern too. Just it's early, obviously facing they're facing better opponents, more high ranked opponents, obviously, but still just the bullpen. It's still early for them. Obviously, they're getting loose, but that bullpen obviously could be doing a lot better. Almost all of them, their opponents are hitting above 300 against Matt.
Yeah, well, that's one thing. The hitting seems to be a little bit ahead of the pitching, and except for DeGennaro, of course. And we're going to see another test on Wednesday as they return to Joe Nathan Field. They'll sneak a home game in midweek against Sacred Heart. So that's one of the earlier home games they've had on their schedule this early in March. And yeah, it's going to be cold. But then the following Tuesday, they're home against LIU. Then they have a 3-game series over the weekend down in Cullowhee, North Carolina, where they take on Western Carolina. They also go down south for another weekend where they take on Old Dominion. So they will be making their southern trips, but sneaking in a home game here and there, and sort of a home game because next week they'll have a Tuesday game against LIU, and then Wednesday they go to Fordham, so they stay in the area. Now, softball, on the other hand, softball, taking a look at what they've been able to do as they get their season underway.
Yeah, they had a great weekend. Went 4-1, obviously, and one loss coming earlier today. But really, before you even talk about any of the games, the player that stands out, no question, is Corrine Badger. The junior catcher. She had a week that's the equivalent of the ones you play on your video games. You play your baseball video game, and you have your created player, and they're just smashing home run after home run. You think, man, I have this on the highest difficulty. This is way too easy. She was just on that level this weekend, guys. She went 6 of 12. All 6 of her hits, home runs. 11 runs batted in. This coming after last year where she only had 1 home run.
That gets you national recognition.
I mean, how could it not, right? have that kind of a day.
Yeah.
She, has 4 hits on Friday for 4 home runs. I mean, it's really something special. And she really propels them to a bunch of these victories as well. Too.
Yeah,
so it's not like it's the icing on the cake.
Yeah,
right?
Yesterday's game is a great example of that. They were down, I think it was 3-1 or 3-2. Badger comes and she pinch hit, I believe. If not, she came in at least in bottom of the 7th. She was essentially going to be the last out, and ends up being a 3-run walk-off home run that ends up getting the team the victory. And this after as well, she did pinch hit. That was in the 5th inning, though, I think. Oh no, she pinch hit for this, so she wasn't even starting this game. Came in and delivered the game winner, getting Dye and Kopinski home after they got on base because of walks. And got them their 4th straight victory. I mean, it's a phenomenal week. And, it's when you hope they keep up, because if so, she joins a great list of sluggers for this team. And recently as well, Stony Brook's had, on the softball side, they've had a lot of great sluggers. Melissa Roderick, obviously. Irene Rivera is another slugger, great catcher for this program as well. And even Jordan Owiski, who last year was better, I think, on the defensive side, I think, in terms of calling the pitches, but she had some power in her bat as well.
So
the one thing that's new to me, Matt, and I'm not a big softball. This is like me entering into the softball world. This is just new to me. So these tournament schedules, this is something that's normal for the softball team.
Oh yeah, and of course they went down to Miami for this one, and this coming weekend they're going to have a tournament, similar one in San Diego, which will field Utah State, San Diego, Yale, and Long Beach State and San Diego State. So then they do another one the weekend after that down in Tampa, it's hosted by South Florida, Ohio State, UMass, and Army, and Fordham. No, Fordham is actually, that's just a regularly scheduled game. That's not part of the tournament. Then they move further north. Then the weekend after that, a tournament at Rutgers, not far to go, Piscataway, New Jersey. Fairfield, Drexel, St. Peter's, and Holy Cross. A couple of non-conference games, and then the America East kicks in. But this is actually a little bit more unusual. They usually have 1 or 2, not this many. But again, they fill their weekends, their non-conference weekends, with these tournaments, and not only that, but even once they're into the America East, they have a bunch of non-conference games. Of course, the midweek non-conference, St. John's is on their schedule. Seton Hall and Providence. I mean, all Big East schools.
Yeah.
They've got Fairleigh Dickinson in there. They got Manhattan. They've got Hofstra, UMass. So yeah, they're going to keep pretty busy. And again, they're functioning as an independent. Again, don't know if this is necessarily going to get them an at-large bid or anything like that, but the non-conference games seem to be more important than the conference games these days.
Yeah, and I was wondering as well too. I mean, Ken, you had brought up earlier about or Matt, maybe it was you, as you said that the batting seems to be ahead of the pitching for the baseball team. I was wondering that's a part of that cold weather feel that we have up here for the pitchers, and they're going down to the warm weather. And I guess it's so different for the softball team with the underhand pitching and multiple pitchers can pitch multiple days in a row.
Yeah.
And I guess the weather is not as much of a factor.
Definitely wasn't this weekend. No, Don Baldrug, the team's ace now with Robert graduating. She had a great weekend. Her first game of the season against Drexel, Stony Brook won 5-3. Baldrick went through all 7 innings, 3 runs allowed, all earned, still struck out 8, and she had another great game as well. I believe it was on Saturday. Or Shelby Denman got a pair of starts, had a win, tossing a complete game against FIU, where only allowing 5 hits, 2 runs, and struck out 6. And I think getting their new pitcher, their transfer from junior college as well in Austin Milas, getting her, some time in the pitcher circle, I thought was big. Or Ashton Milas, get that correct. Her first career start for Stony Brook, tossed 6 innings, 3 runs, only 1 was earned on 6 hits. And Shelby Denman was there to clean up and get her second win in relief. So yeah, the pitchers, I thought coming into the season were the best part about this program. And I thought already they had the best pitching staff out of all the American East Conference. But, in terms of just stacking them up against NCAA, they're really, I think pitching wise, they're among one of the top half, I think, of the NCAA. It was really the batting that concerned me, especially who was going to replace the big back of Roberts. And we might have seen that in what Badger did this week and her incredible slugging.
Yeah, and what it does is it makes the rest of the lineup more effective, right? Because it's going to give other players opportunities to get pitches that they can hit, right? And I think that's going to be interesting to see is because Badger can't do it every game. You can't have a weekend like this every weekend. Mm-hmm. It's just right. It would just be impossible to think of it occur and to ask for it to occur. So that sounds this weekend. You'd like to see her continue to have success, but who else comes along for the ride as well, too, right, Ken?
Yeah, agreed. And I think when Milas and Denman, they got a great 2-3 punch. Really both of them, I think. Well, Denman could definitely hold her own. Shelby, no question about that. Though she had a good season last year and what she was able to produce. Wanted to see, I thought, more of her. But it was tough for him when you got Roderick and Baldrick as your 1-2. But yeah, I think Milas is going to fit it right in with this duo, Matt.
Yeah, and again, looking forward to seeing them when they finally do come up for air and come up north, because we will not see them until they do come back to the New York area on March 16th, but that's at Fordham, and that means not till Thursday, March 31st, do they play at Stony Brook at University Field, which, of course, is right next to Joe Nathan Field. If you're not familiar with it, how could you miss it? If you know where Joe Nathan Field is, there's a softball field right next door.